And this year, I'm telling you, I have had people, because I got to sit next to Levar as we were doing Read Across America, and people of all ages just kind of hyperventilated. And he is that literacy champion. I want you to take a look at someone who knows how to get people excited about reading. Let's take a look at that video.
Levar Burton!
Stephen, Carrie, welcome to a very special edition of Reading Rainbow.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a Reading Rainbow.
I discovered a bedtime story by Levar Burton.
For me, reading is tantamount to being free.
We've got some good news to report tonight for parents who might be hoping for a revival of Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow. Reading Rainbow. Reading Rainbow did a Kickstarter. They said if they gained $1 million, they would do it.
I was overwhelmed, really, by the outpouring of support that we received from the generation of adults now who grew up on the show and are contemplating, you know, having their own children.
$1 million.
So, Kickstarters, I don't know what to say. We've just crossed the $1 million threshold. It is our first day. I am overwhelmed.
I come from a people for whom reading was punishable by whipping or death just 3 generations ago. And I am able to travel every week with any book I choose at my disposal. And I live in a world where that's possible. That's a miracle, as far as I'm concerned.
I can go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Levar Burton, and I'm here at the Smithsonian Institution's Natural History Museum in Washington, D.C. To the nation of Israel and its famous city of gold, Jerusalem. Then in New York City on Broadway. And the White House, the 47th Vice President of the United States, Joseph Biden, the Grand King. Here at the Statue of Liberty, at the top of the Hoover Dam, the very spot where baby Jesus was born. The Mars rover here at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory on the northern edge of the Florida Everglades, and we are about to go on an amazing adventure. Like television in the 80s, these devices are where kids want to spend their time. We started our journey in the digital realm on the iPad and the Kindle Fire. We're making the move now to the web simply because we want to have more impact. We wanted to expand our footprint.
And I believe that we produce, certainly in terms of our videos and these books, this is some of the best content for kids in the English language. And now we're actually looking at and contemplating moving to Latin America. We've got our eye on China. We were really serious about every child, everywhere.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow.
He puts the reading in your rainbow, the Geordie in your LaForge, and the Kunta in your Kinte. Mr. Levar Burton.
Second reading rainbow, butterfly in the sky. Twice as high. Take a look,
see you next time, but you don't have to take my word for it. The stories that we tell each other inform us about who we are, why we're here, and where we're going.
Yes, we can go anywhere. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. They love you. But you know what I love? I love that our friend of education, when I said, how do you want me to introduce you? As a movie star, as Roots, as the host of Reading Rainbow, he said, I'm all of the above, but what I am in my soul is I am a literacy fanatic. I am a literacy champion. I love that. It's like if those kids can read, they can go anywhere. The NEA, Friend of Education, Levar Burton. And I want to read this to you. The National Education Association presents the 2017 Friend of Education to Levar Burton, philanthropist, activist, actor, and literacy advocate for his continuous commitment to improving childhood literacy for over 23 years. Your Friend of Education. And we're going to get all kinds of pictures. Okay. I'm going to hold this.
Thank you. Thank you. All right now, settle down. When I met Lily, it was maybe 10, 15 minutes into our relationship when she said, what are you doing July 4th weekend? And I said, I'm spending it with my family. She said, well, would you reconsider?
I wasn't supposed to tell you why.
And I said, well, I'll have to ask my family. And I did. And my wife and daughter know me very well. And they know how important education and teachers are to me. And so they were all right. And are very supportive of my being here in this now moment. Whenever I have the opportunity to mention my mother's name in public, I do. And this is about as public as one can get. Irma Jean Christian. That is my mother's name. And I like to mention my mother's name. I like to talk about Irma Jean because I consider that I am the man that I am because she is the woman that she is. My mother was my first teacher. My mother was and is an avid reader. It is from my mother, Irma Jean, that I have inherited my love of literature and the written word. My mother, Irma Jean, not only read to me when I was a child, she read in front of me. My mother always has at least 2, sometimes 3 books going for her own personal enjoyment. So I grew up in a house where reading was like breathing. Do you feel me? We took 2 daily newspapers when I was a kid. Anybody old enough here to remember that? My mother was a single parent. Her first career was in education. My mother, y'all, is an English teacher. And it was my mother who poured into me everything good and positive that she knew how to do. My mother taught me that I would one day grow up and inherit a world that would sometimes be hostile to my presence simply because of the color of my skin. And my mother made sure that as my mother, she provided me with the best weapon she could against the injustices that I would inevitably face, and that was a quality education. I want to go ahead and get this out of the way. I am not a fan of Betsy DeVos. Nor her intended policies and intentions toward the educational system in this country. First of all, I do not believe that teachers get the support and the compensation nor the respect due for the job that they perform in this culture. And the last thing I believe that we should be doing is taking money from the already strapped public education sector and using it to fund essentially private institutions that aren't beholden to the laws, the rules, the regulations, and the transparency that we have come to expect in this country. Now, I thought at one time in my life that No Child Left Behind was the most ill-advised governmental policy in the history of governmental policies, but clearly I was wrong. Because Betsy wants to take it one step further. I do not understand the thinking of this administration on a lot of issues. But I'll be damned if I get where they are on education and why they are where they are. It seems to me punitive and puny. To take money from already underserved communities and use it privately. It doesn't make sense to me. Just like it does not make sense to me that our Secretary of Education is in favor of reversing an Obama administration policy that forgives student loans simply because she has a connection to an organization that makes its living collecting loan payments from delinquent students. I'm here today, y'all, because I believe in that which it is you do. I believe that what you have to offer is essential to this nation and our desire to continue to lead the world in any meaningful manner. Without you, we go nowhere unless we support you and those who support you, your staffs at your schools. Unless we support you in the best way we are able, we don't get this job done. I believe we have spent far too much money under good administrations over the past 20 years on war and the machineries of war, and we have left a generation of our children behind. And if we are going to turn this around, we need to do it together. We need to be advocates for ourselves, for our values, for what we believe in. We need to lobby Congress. We need to hit the streets. We need to make our voices heard, because that is what
happens in a functioning democracy. The people need to speak. The people need to be heard. This is the largest, most powerful union in these United States of America. Charged with the most important responsibility, that of educating upcoming generations. And if this nation cannot get behind this mission, there is no hope for us, the last best hope on earth. I love you. I love what you do. Have a great remainder of your convention, y'all. Never forget for a moment that that which it is you do is essentially important, not just to the success of this nation, but to the very fabric of who and what we are. Without education, to borrow from the Bible, the people will perish. Thank you so much, NEA.